I said, who are you that forgives me? And I feel forgiven today.
Muslims are turning to Christ in large numbers across the Middle East, according to the Christian Post. The report says Muslims are turning to Jesus Christ and are viewing Christianity as, quote, the religion of freedom and amid persecution in their country.
Most people don't know this, but behind the walls of two of the most closed-off places in the world, a quiet, unexpected, spiritual movement is stirring. In Gaza and Iran, converting from Islam is fraught with danger, and those who do can risk everything. Yet in the middle of this darkness, something extraordinary is being reported. A wave of Muslims are encountering Jesus through dreams and visions, experiences that no government or threat can silence. This isn't the work of traditional missionaries. It's a phenomenon that ministry leaders say is sparking a surprising hunger for faith and the growth of underground churches, especially in Iran. So what is really happening, and why now? Imagine for a moment living in a place defined by conflict and control. Imagine the sky is a constant source of fear, and the future feels locked. This is the daily reality for millions in Gaza and Iran. But what if, in the depths of that despair, a light appeared? Not a political solution, not a ceasefire, but a supernatural encounter. Reports began to surface of an unbelievable experience, a miraculous vision of a man in radiant white garments who calls himself Jesus. This phenomenon is reportedly transforming hearts and defying easy explanation. Stay with us as we uncover the stories, the testimonies, and the incredible truth of what's unfolding. The Gaza Strip. For decades, this narrow piece of land has been synonymous with hardship and conflict. It's a place where the historic Christian population has shrunk to less than 1,000 people among over 2 million Muslims. It would seem like the last place on earth for a Christian revival. And yet, that is exactly what some incredible reports are describing. Amid the chaos of war, underground Christian ministries on the ground began noticing something. They were providing aid, food, shelter, a listening ear to men who had lost everything. Then, an astonishing story emerged. According to reports shared by Christian professor Michael Licona from ministry sources, one night over 200 Gazan men claimed to have the exact same dream. In it, a figure appeared to them, dressed in brilliant white. He spoke to them and identified himself as Jesus. The next morning, these men allegedly returned to the ministry workers, wanting to learn more about the man in their dreams and how to follow him. Think about the significance of that claim. These were men with little to no prior exposure to the gospel. Yet their descriptions of the man in white were said to match, almost word for word, the depiction of Christ in the book of Revelation. Taysir Tas Abu Sada, a former PLO sniper for Yasser Arafat, who became a Christian, has stated that his own teams have witnessed this spiritual hunger. Sada confirmed, hearing the report, that 200 Gazans gave their hearts to Jesus after realizing they had all experienced the same vision, rejoicing in a shared supernatural encounter. He and others believe that despite the destruction, God has a purpose: to awaken the people of Gaza to an alternative to the despair that has defined their lives. While not a mass revival in the traditional sense, it's a powerful move of God happening in what many would consider one of the darkest places on earth. So that's the story from Gaza. But what's happening in Iran? If the events in Gaza are a sudden flash of light, the situation in Iran is a slow-burning, unstoppable fire. Iran is governed by a strict Islamic theocracy that views conversion from Islam as a threat to national security. Believers are systematically persecuted, arrested, and given long prison sentences for crimes against the state. Yet in the face of this intense oppression, Iran is home to what many experts call the fastest-growing evangelical church in the world. Before 1979, there were only a few hundred known believers from a Muslim background in the country. Today, while exact numbers are impossible to verify, conservative estimates suggest the number of Christians has exploded, with some ministry leaders believing it's well over 1 million. This isn't just growth, it's a spiritual revolution happening in secret. While the regime tries to maintain its iron grip, many people in Iran, especially the youth, are growing disillusioned with the state's ideology. An incredible spiritual hunger has emerged. One imprisoned pastor was reportedly told by his own interrogator, "We know we cannot stop the growth of Christianity." This movement isn't happening in public squares or cathedrals. It is thriving in the shadows, in a decentralized network of underground house churches. How is this possible? The movement has adapted, using technology to connect and grow. Satellite TV, social media, and secure apps have become lifelines, allowing for worship and discipleship to continue despite the risks. The stories coming out of Iran are just as powerful as those from Gaza, with countless testimonies of people encountering Jesus through dreams and visions. One pastor described the spiritual hunger as so intense that if he simply stands up at a party and says he's a Christian, he'll be surrounded by people wanting to learn about Jesus for hours. The regime's persecution, designed to crush the faith, seems to have had the opposite effect. For some, Christianity has become the ultimate form of spiritual resistance. A common, breathtaking thread connects these movements in both Gaza and Iran: the specific nature of the visions. Time and again, from the refugee camps of Gaza to the secret house churches of Tehran, former Muslims describe seeing the same figure, a man clothed in brilliant white, a being of light and authority. One person who saw Jesus in a dream described how he showed him his hands, revealing the nail prints before saying, "Come to me." This isn't some vague, shadowy apparition. It's a consistent, recurring vision of the glorified Christ.
This book is your beginner's guide to understanding Scripture. Find peace, build relationships, and discover purpose in today's world. Ready to decode the Bible? Find Bible Decoded available on Amazon now.
If this content blesses you and you'd like to support our mission, you can buy me a coffee or give a super thanks. Every contribution helps us create more content to inspire and uplift others. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on my future videos. This imagery is deeply significant because it aligns directly with descriptions of Jesus in the Bible. In Matthew 17 verse 2, during the Transfiguration, it says Jesus' face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as the light. In the book of Revelation, the Apostle John sees a vision of the resurrected Jesus, describing him with hair white like wool, as white as snow. For centuries, many Christians have believed in prophecies that speak of a great spiritual harvest in the Middle East. The fact that so many Muslims are describing visions that match these biblical accounts is seen by many as a direct fulfillment of that prophecy. And the role of dreams here is key. In Islamic culture, dreams are often considered a potential channel for divine guidance. The late Nabil Qureshi, a former devout Muslim who became a powerful Christian apologist, explained that many Muslims specifically pray for dreams to receive guidance from God. In fact, Mission Frontiers magazine once reported that a significant number of all Muslim converts to Christianity experienced a dream of Jesus that was pivotal in their decision. So what we may be witnessing is a targeted, supernatural intervention, speaking to Muslims in a language they are culturally prepared to understand. To really get the magnitude of this spiritual awakening, we have to understand the immense price these new believers are willing to pay. In both Gaza and Iran, converting from Islam isn't just a change of personal belief. It's often seen as a betrayal of one's family, community, and nation. The consequences are severe. In Iran, the government actively prosecutes converts. House churches are raided, and believers are arrested on fabricated charges like acting against national security. The simple act of owning a Bible can lead to a long prison sentence in notorious facilities like Evin Prison. Believers live under constant surveillance, knowing a neighbor or even a family member could report them. They're often fired from their jobs, disowned by their families, and treated as outcasts. One woman named Fatimeh, a house church leader, described the constant terror after her church was raided, having to avoid her own family for fear of being accused. Yet she and others persist. As one group of Iranian church leaders told a pastor, "Don't worry about us. We know what we got into." In Gaza, the situation is just as perilous. Under the rule of Hamas, any deviation from their brand of Islam can be viewed as treason. Those who choose Christ face ostracism, threats, and violence from within their own community. So why would anyone choose a faith that costs them everything? The answer, according to their testimonies, lies in the power of their encounter. They say the vision of Jesus is so profound, so life-altering, that no threat can compare. They've found a peace and a hope that transcends their suffering. Their willingness to suffer and even die for their new faith is perhaps the most powerful evidence of all, that what they experienced was not just a dream, but a divine reality. The stories of these courageous believers in Gaza and Iran are a powerful reminder that light can shine in the darkest of places. If you're moved by their faith and want to hear more incredible stories of what God is doing around the world, make sure you subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell. And to stand in solidarity with these new believers, comment, "Jesus is Lord," below to let them know they are not alone. This spiritual awakening isn't happening in a vacuum. The stories of miraculous visions in Gaza and Iran are sending ripples of hope across the globe. They're being shared through secret networks and discussed in online forums, emboldening believers in other restricted nations. Ministry reports suggest similar phenomena are occurring in places like Iraq, Afghanistan, and beyond. Some are calling this movement one of the most significant spiritual harvests in the 1,400-year history of Islam. It's viewed as a fulfillment of the biblical promise that the gospel will be preached to all nations. In a world focused on political turmoil, these events suggest a different story is unfolding, one of divine redemption. The narrative is shifting from one of intractable conflict to one of supernatural hope. It suggests that while armies and governments clash, a higher power is at work. These testimonies are also igniting a powerful prayer movement worldwide. Christians from every nation are hearing these stories and are being moved to pray for their persecuted brothers and sisters in Gaza and Iran. They're praying for their protection, for their courage, and for the continued growth of this underground church. This global wave of prayer provides a spiritual covering, reminding them that even in their isolation, they are part of a massive, global family of faith. This is more than a regional revival. It's a message of hope for the entire world. From the war-torn streets of Gaza to the clandestine house churches of Iran. An undeniable and miraculous phenomenon is being reported. A growing number of Muslims, many trapped in cycles of violence and oppression, have been met with a supernatural vision of hope. Jesus Christ appearing to them in dreams. This is not a political movement. It is a deeply personal, divine intervention that is turning the persecuted into prophets of a new spiritual dawn in the Middle East. These new believers are risking everything, their families, their freedom, and their very lives for the man in white who they say called them by name. Their courage in the face of unimaginable suffering is a testament to the profound reality of their encounter. While the world sees headlines of war and despair, a different story is being written, one of a spiritual revolution that no earthly power can stop. What happens when a generation raised in such difficult circumstances is supernaturally filled with a love that changes everything? The answer could change the world.
Feeling anxious or disconnected? Ready for a deeper faith journey designed just for you? Discover Bible Study for Black Women. This guide nurtures faith, strength, and growth week by week. Overcome fear and connect with God. This empowering journey is waiting. Find Bible Study for Black Women on Amazon today and start building unshakable faith.
If this content blesses you and you'd like to support our mission, you can buy me a coffee or give a super thanks. Every contribution helps us create more content to inspire and uplift others. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on my future videos.